Hi, welcome to my podcast, Talking Travel with Wendy. I travel the globe interviewing really cool people in small hospitality and tourism businesses. Join me each week as I discover and share something or someone new with you. You can find more at www.travelwithwendy.net. And remember, it's always an adventure when you travel with Wendy. In today's podcast, I'm introduced to Cheaha State Park in Delta, Alabama. Many thanks to Renee Raney, Superintendent, and Mandy Pearson, Park Naturalist, and their invitation to visit and learn and share this wonderful park at the highest point in Alabama. Hi, thanks so much for joining us today on Talking Travel with Wendy. Today, this afternoon, we are at Cheaha State Park, and I am with Mandy and Renee, and I've had a lovely day touring the park and getting introduced to everything. So thank you guys very much.
Thank you for joining us. Yeah. It's been wonderful.
Yeah. I learned a lot about the history of the park today, but I would love to hear a little bit more. How did you guys get involved? You told me a little bit.
Sure. Well, I actually grew up in this park. My farm is about 20 minutes down the road. So as a child, my parents would bring me here to run the trails, learn about animals, to swim in the lake and just explore nature. And I thought that this is what everybody did.
Sure.
This is what I thought outdoor recreation and entertainment was. And then as I grew up, I realized that most of the people that live in the area don't visit their parks. They go out of state or they go a long distance to enjoy nature. And so part of our mission here is to say, hey, we grew up in this area, know this area, become part of it. That heart-to-park connection is vital for our success.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing to me how many people have said to me in the last year, with more and more people seeing local, in-state amenities, that's there, that's here. I didn't realize that was here.
Right.
And I'm sure you've heard that this year too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The park seems to be rediscovered.
Yeah.
And for many reasons, our stay-at-home orders or stay inside, but we say safer outside.
Right.
Or naturally distance. We're socially distancing here, but naturally distance from the crowd. Come to your state parks, go to your public lands and enjoy them.
And you came to the park by way of Renee.
Yes, ma'am. I worked with her for many years as my mentor, and I was helping with a nature camp group right here in this area. We came down those steps and she looked at the superintendent and said, "Here's your new naturalist." And I looked behind me and I said, "Where?" And she said, "You." I said, "Do what?" Well, I couldn't have asked for a better place. And that was the first time that I came to Cheaha State Park, is when she brought me here, fell in love with it. Okay. And this is home. When I hear the rustle of the wind, when I see the frosted tips of the trees, when I hear the pileated flying through, this is home. Yeah. And this is worth connecting people and getting them to get out and explore, because I had a very different upbringing where I was outside Birmingham in the suburbs of Trussville. So if you had a tree in your grass, that was considered woods.
Yeah, okay.
So as soon as I got old enough to go out and find real woods, I fell in love with it, and I want to get people with similar backgrounds to come and explore, come live this wildlife.
Nature's the playground. I just think people have forgotten that, and they're really starting to relearn it again.
And it's magical. One of my sayings is every moment in nature is a once upon a time moment. Because, as a child, all these books and stories start out as once upon a time, and then they end happily ever after. Yeah. And in between, what happens? Well, they visit state parks.
That's right. That's right.
Mandy said something interesting, though. She said she felt like this was home. Mm-hmm. And we have a diverse group of visitors that come from all over the world. I don't mean just Alabama or just the 50 states, but international visitors. Mm-hmm. And when they get here and they look out, they see home, they feel home. And we've had it compared to Hawaii's islands, Nepal,
Pennsylvania, Maine.
We could not have had a more beautiful day.
This was perfect. We ordered it for you.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that. Tammy did that for Heflin as well. Yes. I really appreciate that.
No. Claiborne County and Cheaha State Park,
That's
we're
right.
connected.
You did bring the snow. You won up her. Totally okay.
But we had incredible views. And one of the things that has resonated with me today is Mandy has said a few times that Cheaha is for everybody and everybody. And so you do have trails that are accessible for any level of a hiker, walker, and you get to experience these beautiful landscapes, no matter what your ability, which I think today is a motivation to, maybe not hermitize. That's my word I've come up with, 2020.
Hermitize, I like that.
but to get out and see, and there is so much to see here today.
Absolutely.
I'm tired. You wiped me out, girl.
Mission successful.
Wonderful.
Well, she said at the end of the day too, she said, well, I'm used to taking kids around, and I'm like, this is a kid.
You mentioned accessible, and that is near and dear to my heart, because my mother is of an age now that she can't do all the things that she's done in the past 80 years. Having accessible trails and overlooks for her is just primo.
Yes.
But 2 weeks ago, I got an email from a gentleman who has hiked. He's hiked every summit in every state, and he's 70 years old now, but he's in a wheelchair, and he thought his hiking days were over, and his son brought him to Cheaha and then went out on our accessible boardwalk, and he wrote me back. He said, I am still a hiker.
Yeah.
We really try to promote a park for everyone. And so we have 2 different accessible hikes. So we have one that goes on the Leave No Trace Challenge Trail. So it's a hike to Alabama's highest point, conquer a mountain as your first hike of the year. But then we also have a later one that is on the boardwalk that is completely accessible. So if you have to use a wheelchair to go hiking, come on. You can come and enjoy and go on a first day hike.
Yes.
You have another really fun hike that includes Bigfoot.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, we do. So we love to talk about Leave No Trace. We love to encourage people wilderness ethics as well as life ethics.
Yes.
And the two are tightly bound together, and we forget that we need to treat animals and the land just as kindly as we treat each other. And so that's what Leave No Trace talks about and educates it. But rather than just have a sit and talk, we prefer to turn it into a fun educational game.
Absolutely.
And so we have Bigfoot that's hidden along a trail, and just out of natural curiosity, the Bigfoot are hidden at the trail signs. So you eventually start to pair the two together, that I might want to read this trail thing, and you learn more about Leave No Trace, and it works. I can't tell you how many times I've seen a kid, and he's got a Coke can where he had just finished his Coke, and he's about to throw it down, and Mom snatches that up. This is a Leave No Trace park. Don't you dare. You go put it in the trash can. Little boy just looks down. Okay.
Yeah. And you said the Bigfoots have occasionally surprised the...
Oh, yeah. Bigfoot loves making all kinds of appearances throughout the park.
Awesome.
And so the saying is, because it's not just an odd pairing, it's part of the national Leave No Trace message of Leave No Trace. Bigfoot's been doing it for years. So the question is, could you be so good at leaving no trace that you're just like Bigfoot?
Yeah.
It's a challenge.
It's a
and
challenge.
It's a good competitive challenge.
Yeah.
Can you compete with yourself to take better care of the environment?
Excellent.
That's right.
You have many amenities at the park. You have the lodge, accommodations, campsites. Tell me a little bit about them.
About the accommodations. All right.
Let's hit that first.
Part of our mission is to have something for everyone. And so we've talked about accessibility and the different types of trails that we have, but our accommodations are the same way. We've got primitive camping, we've got group camping, we've got glamping opportunities, we've got improved camping. So whatever you enjoy, we've got something that fits your need. Just like our trails, just like our campgrounds. If camping is not for you, we've got a hotel.
Okay.
With this beautiful overlook right here, right next to the pool in the area we call the Village, which is the restaurant, hotel, and store area.
Okay.
Trails all converge right there. Converge. I made up a new word. Trails converge right there. And it just depends. And the great thing is if someone comes, they want to try a new tent out, and it's just not for them, we'll let them come up and stay in a hotel room. No, you have to stay in what you started in, We work with them. We want folks to enjoy nature, enjoy that experience, because if they love it, whether it's just Cheaha. If they fall in love with Cheaha, we're okay with that. They can come back year after year, and they do.
Yeah.
But once they get that experience at Cheaha, they might try one of the other 21 parks. And that's what we're about. All of our sister parks working together with the National Forest, with the other public lands, in this web of goodness.
Sure. So the lodge is here, but you also have Bald Rock Lodge,
That's right.
which was originally a lodge, right?
That was the original hotel for the park, built by the CCC back in 1941 and completed 1942.
Okay. And that was a great tour today, too. What a fabulous building.
Isn't it beautiful?
Oh, yeah, to have a wedding there, unforgettable.
The amazing thing about the facilities in this park is we're only 30 minutes from several major city centers, but you feel like you're in the middle of the wilderness.
Yeah.
The view, the vista, like I said, we're the island in the sky surrounded by 300,000 acres of national forest. And so there is that separation with all of the best amenities possible. So we have about 250,000 people that visit the park every year.
Wow.
And since COVID-19 and Safer Outside, we've seen about 150% increase on our day visitors and our overnight guests.
That's wonderful.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the diversity of our guests has been incredible. The novice, I have loved seeing the newbies, or, you know, they haven't been to a park before. They thought they would never explore a park. They may have gone to REI and decked themselves out from head to toe for that one day of visitation, or ordered from a catalog or whatever they did. But they come in and they are hooked.
Yeah.
They love it. From the moment they step into that store and our guests say welcome to, and our staff says welcome to Cheaha, that guest feels at home. And you just see them. All of a sudden those little cogs and those wheels are coming together. It's safe to be here. It's clean. There's fresh air. There's wellness in this park. And they're coming back again and again and putting it on social media and saying Cheaha is the place to be. Alabama State Parks absolutely rock.
Yeah.
Get out there. Love them. Love your parks.
Yeah, absolutely.
The facilities, they really kind of have a different personality. And one of the things that I love is bringing it full circle. How many folks went camping as a kid, or they remember their parents, and they forgot until COVID hit.
Right.
And as COVID hit, they're like, well, we can do that camping thing. And how much joy comes back over. How many people have said, I totally forgot this joy. And their kids are over there running amok, having a blast, catching lightning bugs.
The equipment is so much better, coming from a dad who hiked in the Adirondacks with a 5-person tent that we had to put in up and then, hide all the food because of the bears.
Right.
That they had forgotten. Climbing a tree, laying on their back and looking at the stars, watching the clouds, flying a kite, catching lightning bugs, catching frogs and salamanders, going fishing.
Yeah.
They've forgotten about all of this.
Yeah.
Being in the city, they forgot.
It's awakening.
And as they come back, it's like coming home.
Yeah.
And so it's amazing to see that full circle. As the adults come back, they bring their kids back. And it's just this continuing cycle that the park gets to fuel and get to be a small part of.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And to see families disconnect from technology temporarily. We love technology. We're all about it. Matter of fact, right now our IT department is in the park making Wi-Fi possible for Cheaha.
Oh, yay!
Yes.
Okay, there you
Yes.
go. For people who just cannot not be connected.
That's right. That's right. So, I want our guests to be able to connect to technology and have that, but also to be able to turn it off, step out, and do just what Mandy said, to remember those little things that make life worth living.
Yeah.
Even the fragrances of the park, even the pines, even the lichens, even the rocks, and then just not being able to smell anything when you're on an overlook and realize I don't smell smog, I don't smell smoke, I don't smell any of the things that the city might hold,
Well, we went to tour the cabins today, which were fantastic. One of the cabin people were out cooking over the stove, and it smelled so good.
Yeah.
I love one of my favorite times of anything I do here is to drive down the upper primitive camp trail and looking out, and the tents are set up, and the people are by the campfires, and it might be 2 people, it might be one guy reading a book, it might be a group of friends around the campfire, and they're laughing, but you smell different types of wood smoke as you go through.
Yeah.
And it's just this intimate moment where I'm the superintendent driving through the park, and they're waving at me, and everyone's happy, and it just makes me feel like I'm part of their family too.
Right. And have you found that too, that people have either met each other here and they might see each other at another park and say, oh, no, I've met them
Absolutely.
a couple months ago.
Yeah, it's sort of this statewide and then sort of a southeastern state park family.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Super cool. How many trails are in the park? Do we have? A lot.
Pause.
No, I'm thinking purple, yellow, pink, blue, white, gray.
Yep.
Something that I've really noticed that I absolutely loved while we were on the hikes today is that it's very well marked, which from hiking in Europe, I was telling Mandy, I love the really good
trails.
Legends.
Right.
18 trails?
I think so.
18 trails.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
So yeah, lots of trails.
We got to make that 20.
I'm working on number 19 right now. I really am.
I know you are.
You know I am.
I know you are.
Got a call the other day from someone who has worked on the Pinhoti and the AT trails for years, Mike Leonard.
Okay.
And he wants to help us create a summit trail from the lake.
Wow.
So that people can either hike to the lake or park at the lake and then hike all the way to Alabama's high point without having to get on a road.
That would be
Wouldn't
awesome.
that be awesome?
Yeah.
So we're going to do that. We're going to work on that, make it a reality.
Well, you're going to bring me down. We're going to talk
Yeah,
about
Come on.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Come on.
Come on.
So it's 18 trails, and that was something that was really important to us, because when I started, we had very few blazes, and we had people who wanted to get out and wanted to explore, but they didn't have necessarily a progressive method to get there. We didn't have a GPS accurate map, and so one of the priorities I wanted to see was, let's blaze it so it's clear. Let's really clear it wide. So if you see a 4-foot wide section, I probably need to be there. And then we had GPS accurate map, and we really promote it so that, we want you to come to the park. Like Renee said, it's safe. You're going to see 2 or 3 blazes ahead of you, 2 or 3 blazes behind you. So as long as you stay on those painted trees, you'll come out at a road.
Are the trails on the All Trails app and or
Most
any
of them
apps?
are.
Yeah.
Most of them are. Not all of them.
Yeah.
Now, there's a difference when you hop into the wilderness, and they start noticing that, because not all of the trails are blazed.
Oh, sure.
The only one that's blazed is the Pinhoti, and it's not blazed tight like we do it.
Okay.
Because I wanted to make sure. So we wanted to make sure that we were a really safe, inviting place for everyone of every ability. So if you're a through hiker who's already crested, 4 awesome different trails, AT, PCST, Elemental B, go for it. Great. Conquer that Pinhoti. But, no matter where you're starting or where you are,
Right.
you can have fun in Cheaha and stay safe.
And we're really huge into assessment too. So from that new person who this is the first time they've ever hiked to that seasoned hiker who has hiked all over the world, we love that feedback. And we're very open to constructive criticism, and we take that to heart. And so everything we do in this park, from the trails to the amenities, we listen to our guests. As you know, the welcome email that you receive, that is what guests have told us. So we want you to be as prepared as you can by the time you get here, knowing what to expect.
Yes.
And I'm really proud of our park naturalist. She's done a wonderful job in making everything accessible, everything safe, and making this educational opportunity for our day guests and our overnight guests, something that is a reality and a value to them.
Well, Brittany's really sweet at the general store too.
Oh yeah,
I enjoyed meeting
our whole
her.
staff is wonderful.
They're here because they love it.
Yeah.
They're here because they have a personal investment
That's
in this
right.
park.
So history is really important here, and y'all have more than one museum
Yes, ma'am.
on the
That's
park
right.
as well. So let's talk about those
Sure.
as well.
I'll let you talk
Okay.
about museums.
You were here with the first
you
one.
took me to the
Yes,
CTC.
ma'am. So Walt Farr was our first one. He was a gentleman who went all over this area in a couple different counties and picked up an awful lot of Native American artifacts. And so he was able to teach an awful lot of people who would have never understood anything about Native American.
The Walt Farr Museum is near and dear to our heart. Walt Farr was a wonderful person, and his son is actually one of our security guards
Oh,
here.
really?
And his grandson comes here and plays the guitar and entertains us at the
Okay.
restaurant quite often. So we keep it in the family, and they volunteer to help us in the park. And that's something we probably didn't talk about much, was our volunteers.
Yeah.
And we have an incredible volunteer and park program. So we have opportunities like curating the museum,
Okay.
greeting guests, leading hikes, doing just about any special skill a person has. We can put that to use in this park.
Oh, that's
we
great.
would love to have more volunteers.
Yeah. And the other museum was the one that you gave me a tour of earlier, the CCC, and such a huge, rich history that you have here, the foundations and the tower, and one of two.
So with it, because we're one of the very few in Alabama that had 3 companies almost the entire time, from 1933 to 1941. 42 it kind of wrapped up. It was when the bombing of Pearl Harbor hit that it just was fizzling out to done.
Yeah.
But we had 3 companies almost continuously throughout that time period. And so we have a lot to pull from. And we still have so many people who come back today. My dad did that. My granddad did that. My great uncle was here. My so-and-so helped build that road. He helped put that stone there. And so we get so many amazing stories. Was it Senator Gerald Dial whose dad helped build this?
That's right.
And we have a picture of him bringing his grandson
Oh,
to
cool.
come back and look at his father's name in the book. And so thankful that this park is still standing.
Yeah.
And an amazing supporter of this park.
Yes, absolutely. And in February, someday when COVID lifts,
Yes.
we really want to have a Black Heritage Month in this park, because the African American CCC Corps were the mainstay
Okay.
of building this park. And one of the daughters of those officers is still alive,
Oh,
Georgia
wonderful.
Underwood Calhoun, and she wants to come up to Cheaha and tell the story of how her father built Cheaha.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Wouldn't that be wonderful?
Yeah, yeah.
She's the one whose father was the leader of the CCC that we were talking about,
Okay.
that decided to have the character and integrity to go and help Talladega National Forest CCC group because they needed a full-time leader.
Yeah.
So he had that integrity to say, we need to do what's right.
Absolutely.
So how can people find Cheaha? What is your website?
So the website's going to be alapark.com /Cheaha State Park, and then we have a Facebook page of Cheaha State Park Alabama. And our Facebook page is very active. We've got all kinds of different videos and pictures if you want to see what these hikes look like. We've got about 6 interpretive hikes that are on there. So we had someone who recently came out. We did Pulpit Rock, and we had several families. We had an older couple that were around 70s, 80s, and they said, from your video, we knew we could conquer that mountain, and we came out to do something we've never done before because you encouraged us that we could do it.
And you have several videos on your Facebook page.
Yes, ma'am.
So
We've been putting about
Yeah.
1 per week since March. So since COVID hit, we've been trying to encourage people to get out and see nature, even if all you can do is go to your backyard. But Alabama state parks are a very safe place to go, and trying to encourage people, come and explore, because we might not be able to gather in person as much, but you can definitely read about it, watch these videos, and come to this exact place and go, wow, I never knew that was so
right
impressive.
here. Right
Right.
here. Yeah.
And we're literally halfway between Atlanta and Birmingham, so we've got about a 7 million person range in our radius that can get here within an hour.
But for us in Huntsville, you're on the way to the beach,
That's
and
right. That's
that's a
right.
nice little stop off, even if it's. And this is a great day trip. It didn't take me that long at all to get here from Huntsville, so you could do it for the day or a really great weekend.
I can't tell
to
you
get
how
away.
many folks say that Cheaha is Alabama's Smoky Mountains.
Yeah.
So we don't need to drive all the way up there to that crowded area. We're just going to go to Cheaha.
Yeah, there you go. Well, thank you guys so
Thank you
much
for
for
being
being my
here.
guest and having me as your guest as well. I really
Absolutely.
appreciate
We've
it.
made a
And
new friend.
yes, I look forward to coming back in the spring when the new Nature Center
Absolutely.
opens up.
We
Come
would
on.
love that.
Yeah,
We
that's
would
great.
anytime, Wendy. You're welcome anytime.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Our pleasure.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much for tuning in. For more information and visual content, check out my vlog on YouTube, Travel with Wendy. Want to help support this channel? Become a Patreon patron. The links are below. And remember, it's always an adventure when you travel with Wendy.